Hi everyone, Jamie Madison here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is day 10 of the 31 Days of Halloween Hop. This fun event was put together by Katys from Hook, Line, and Anchor, and in order to win the fun prize pack at the end of the 31 days, you need to be sure to comment on every video in the Halloween series. I'll put the link down below where you can find all 31 videos. To get started with this fun card I made, I'm going to pull out the CZ Designs Zombie Boo stamp set and stamp a whole bunch of these zombie hands out on some Bristol Smooth cardstock paper. I'm then going to go in with my Copic Coloring. The Copics I'm using, of course, you can always find the colors up there in the left-hand side of your screen, and they do go in order of what I use. So I went ahead and colored in one hand for you. This hand I used the YG11. That's going to be my highlight, and I just went through and just added where I thought my highlights were going to be with this hand, because I like to work light to dark instead of dark to light, because I feel like it gives me less chances to have error and put too much dark all at once. So then I went in with my medium tone and started to add just a little bit of shading where I thought there would be on this zombie hand. I really enjoyed the way this zombie hands turned out. I added some yellow in there. I forgot to list it in the order, so I did put it at the very bottom of the list, but that is the Y06 for my yellow, and I thought it just gave it a really creepy, middle of the night, full moon rising zombie hand kind of color to it. It almost looks kind of like the Hulk in a way, busting out of the ground. But so yeah, I colored in all of these zombie hands, and then I went in and added the same color yellow to my dirt to kind of give it like a full moon was shining down on these zombie hands. I then went in with my earth tones, the E33, E37, and E29, just to put in that dark color for the earth. This is super easy coloring. You kind of just do zigzags for the rocks. There's no rhyme or reason. Just kind of leave your yellow at the very top though, and then just start working to your darkest part. The gravel or dirt doesn't really matter on how you color it. You won't see much of it, but I would recommend coloring it in. After I was done coloring in all my zombie hands and my zombie ground, I went ahead and used my scan and cut to cut all of these out with no border. You can use the die that comes with this set if you have it, but if not, some fussy cutting would work. These are super easy to cut out. It's a very simple design. Moving on to my background piece, I went ahead and pulled out my Distress ink, and I'm using Fossilized Amber, Peeled Paint, Mowed Lawn, and Black Soot, and I will put those up in the left-hand corner as well if you want to use the same pattern colors that I used. So for my colored pattern, I'm going to go in with the Fossilized Amber, which is my yellow first, and then I'm going to start adding my greens, and then at the very end, I'm going to add my black. I kind of had the idea of a camo for the background, so kind of like if you were in a zombie rescue group, you would want to be wearing like camo to blend in with your environment, so that's kind of where my mind went for these colors. With my black soot, I was starting to get a little bit low on the ink pad. I haven't had these ink pads very long, but a couple of them almost seemed like they didn't have that much ink in them. I don't know if it's because I have the minis and I don't have the full size, but I need to go purchase another black soot. So in order to get this a little bit darker than what I could get with the black soot, I went back in with one of my greens to darken up those areas. Now I am using a 6x6 piece of paper because my card is going to be more of a larger square card. And I'm also going to be using my Bristol Smooth paper that really helps the Distress ink kind of glide easier and blend better. Now moving on to the spinning element for this card, I'm going in with 3 different circles. 2 are the exact same. They're going to be more of our buffer to help our larger circle move more easily. And then our larger circle is going to be the one that has our element on it. So here is my element circle. And I'm just going to take a pencil and I'm going to just outline the inside of that circle. That way I know where my foam adhesive is going to go. I'm then going in with my Gina K Designs. This is the Connect glue. It holds really well and it dries clear, which is why I reached for it. I'm then going to take all of my zombie hands that I had cut out with my Scan and Cut, and I'm going to place them on my circle die. It just so happens I colored just enough and they fit perfectly on the circle. Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and set that aside so it can dry. Moving on to our center element, where we had that pencil line drawn, we're going to take some foam adhesive, double it up so there's 2 rows of it, and then we're going to work it around that circle. Make sure you take both of the backings off of your foam tape, and that will help you move it around a little bit easier. I was having a little bit of trouble, not because it was my foam tape, but because my background was still a tad bit damp, so my tape was not wanting to really stick to it very well yet. But I just kind of gave it a little bit more love and pushed down a little bit harder, and it was able to stay for me. After I have my foam adhesive all down in that circle, we can add our 2 cushion circles. These are going to be the ones you don't see, but they're just a tad bit smaller in diameter than the other circle. It still has the same center circle cut out of it, so it still fits the same as our larger circle. It's just smaller in width. So then I'm going to take some extra foam adhesive and put it in the center. That is where our sentiment's going to go. I went ahead and put those 2 buffers down, and I used a little bit of my talcum powder that I had for my anti-static powder. I added that down to make sure that these circles glided really easily, and I doubled up on that as well. I put it between the circles, on top, behind, below, anywhere I could get that, so it makes sure that there was no friction with that circle. Then I went ahead and added our spinner element to it and also added that powder to it and made sure that it was freely spinning. After that's set up, I'm going to start on my sentiment. I used some black cardstock and I used my anti-static powder bag, and I took my die cut circle so I knew how big I wanted it to be and made sure that my sentiment was going to fit nicely in there. The sentiment I'm using is also from the Zombie Boo stamp set, and it says Zombie Rescue. I thought this was super cute with the zombie hands coming out, and it just all tied together so nicely. I'm going to go ahead and take that with some white embossing powder, and then I'm going to heat emboss that until it's smooth and melted, and then I'm going to take that die cut that you saw earlier that we lined it up with, and I'm going to cut that out. After I have it cut out, we're going to add it to the card. So here is my sentiment, and it says Zombie Rescue. We're going to take that foam adhesive backing off and just line it up, make sure it looks nice and center. Place it down, and we're going to make sure our element now spins nice, and it does. It's just perfect. Love it. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this on some black cardstock. This is going to be 6.5 by 6.5 width, so we have a little bit of a black border. I'm going to use my ATG tape roller to adhere this back panel, just because we don't want any warping. We want this to be a nice and flat surface with our spinner element. After we have that adhered, I'm just going to add a little bit of extra decoration. You don't have to, but I'm going to bring out that stamp set again, and I'm going to grab 2 of the skulls that are in that stamp set, and I'm going to grab my VersaFine. This stamp's really nice dark black, and I'm just going to stamp a couple skulls on the background for this card. I went in with my larger skull and just stamped that in just 2 little spots as well. You know, I can never just stop. That's the problem. I always want to add more, but I still think it turned out beautiful. I just love this card. For the center, I went ahead and cut out some white cardstock so I can have a place to put a sentiment and whatever you want to write inside the card. I also stamped Happy Halloween on the inside. I adhered that also with my ATG tape roller. You know, I first got this tape roller, I wasn't too happy with it. It was giving me so many issues, but now I have the right tape in there. It works perfect. And I save so much money on glue. I use so much glue, so this is so nice to have. After I have that centered in my card, we are all finished with this card. I really hope you guys enjoyed this card. I enjoyed making it. It was so much fun. And please make sure you go and comment on all 31 videos so you can be entered in for that giveaway. It's a really nice prize package. If you go to Hook, Line, and Inker's Instagram, you'll find her blog on there and you can find everything that you need. It'll also be linked down below. Thank you guys so much for joining me. It was so much fun, and I will see you guys next week with another video. Bye!